Growing up, you know how you had that cousin that you looked up to that you always thought was so cool and you wanted to be just like that cousin when you were older? And then you get older and then you realize that that cousin is just a human being, much like yourself. I like to think of the Jordan 4 like that cousin of the Air Flight 89 because the Air Flight 89 is just as cool. Let's talk about it. So here we have the Air Flight 89. This is I don't want to say predecessor, but this came out around the same time as the Air Jordan 4 first released in 1989. Now, there was the high top version of the Air Flight 89, which actually came before the Air Jordan 4. And famously, Tinker Hatfield actually took the Air Flight 89 and kind of made it into his own and gave that shoe to Jordan to actually wear. However, this wasn't discarded. This silhouette wasn't discarded. This silhouette was still used by Nike for their Nike athletes. More famously, Scottie Pippen, Shawn Kemp, some of the greatest people that played around the same time as Michael Jordan wore the Air Flight 89s in different colorways, and so on and so forth. Now, they've been retroed a couple of times, but I believe this has been one of the better releases. Now, the tooling on the shoe, by the way, I still got my cast. I get it removed in 2 days. Cannot wait, man. You do not know how difficult it is to shoot these things with just one hand, man. Trying to set up the camera with one hand is a nightmare. But regardless, so from the bottom, the outsole, the midsole, up until the whole tooling of the shoe is pretty much similar to the Air Jordan 4 because, again, they are essentially the same shoe. Of course, just with the upper being a little bit more different in terms of design. Like, this actually gives me also some Air Jordan 3 vibes, especially the Air Jordan 3 Tinker Hatfield with the swoosh, the way that it's currently placed, the way that it's placed on the actual shoe. Come on, man. Why is this thing? There you go. The way that this thing is placed on the shoe is really reminiscent of that Air Jordan 3, the Tinker Hatfield version. But besides the actual midsole and the outsole, I mean, it's pretty much a kind of like a deconstructed Air Jordan 4, even though they were designed the same year at the same time. You still also got kind of like this right mud guard. Actually, let me pull out a Jordan 4 to compare. So on the Jordan 4, you don't have that lower side panel in the lower half of the shoe like you do here in the Air Flight 89. You know, that kind of ties together the laces. And again, this shoe is a little bit higher up in terms of the collar. This is more of a mid top. It's a little bit higher than the actual Air Jordan 4. But all in all, this shoe feels pretty much the same on feet than an Air Jordan 4. Now, of course, the materials are pretty similar. The actual materials used in this specific retro and this specific version of the Air Flight 89, which I believe these came out, if I'm not mistaken, these came out last year. The leather on this is pretty stiff. It's pretty nice. It's pretty good. It's pretty slim, pretty thin paneling as far as a leather goes. But that's not the worst part. Like, it's not a bad thing at all. The leather still feels smooth to the touch. It's very bouncy. It's very malleable, and it's very, very nice. I think that the only kind of like cheaper feeling part of this shoe has to be the sock lining. It is a little stiff. It is a little like cheap feeling, like it's not very form fitting in a sense. And I do know that the actual insole is, you know, that cheap dream cell sort of material that not a lot of sneakerheads like, but still it's pretty okay for a budget version of what is essentially a Jordan 4. Let's keep it a bug. This is a Jordan 4 all throughout. Same midsole, same outsole, a lot of the same tooling, a lot of the same technology. You still got the encased air unit in the front, and then you also got it in the back heel, the exposed air unit, and it's pretty much the same shoe. feels the same. I will say these are a little bit wider than Air Jordan 4, so you don't get that pinky crushed feel at all, and just feels like a more comfortable and more ready to break in sort of shoe, if I'm not being completely honest. From even the tongue, the way that the tongue has the Air Flight here tag inside the tongue, you can see it there a little bit, much like the Air Jordan 4 does as well instead, but in the Air Jordan 4 you have Air Jordan instead. But all in all, it's pretty much the same exact shoe, man. Look at this comparison. By the way, I'm doing this with one hand. This is very tough to keep balance, but it is essentially the same shoe. I don't want to call these the poor man Jordan 4s because they are a signature shoe. A lot of athletes in the, in '89 and the early '90s wore this shoe, but these were cheaper initially. These are, a little bit more of an affordable alternative to the Air Jordan 4s. I absolutely love this shoe. This specific colorway just talked to me, man. I've been trying to get the Nigel Sylvester remastered version of the Air Jordan 4 that just released over the weekend, on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. But the release was pretty limited. It was only I think in stores in New York and London, and besides that you had to join raffles and whatnot, and I just haven't been lucky. I know that in the UK, that specific shoe, the Bikey Air, how people are calling it, the Jordan 4 Bikey Air, was loaded up on sneakers, but here in the US we weren't that lucky. I felt this was a great alternative to what I was looking for the Nigel Sylvester to kind of like do for me, which was an all-day shoe, a shoe that I could wear when I go out cycling, when I go biking, just a shoe that I can really beat to the ground and like not feel really bad about it. I got this shoe from DTLR and I got it for $70. Like it is a great shoe. It is a great feeling shoe. It's heavy, it's sturdy, it's rather comfortable, all things considered. I've only walked around the house with them, but still I think this is a great value and a great alternative to what is a classic Air Jordan silhouette. Again, a classic shoe, a lot of sneaker history in this shoe, and you could kind of argue that this silhouette came first or inspired the Air Jordan 4 rather than the Air Jordan 4 inspiring this shoe, because there's just a lot of similarities between the two models. But all in all, really happy with this purchase. You let me know down in the comments below what you think of the Air Flight 89s. Not specifically this colorway. I know there's some other colorways currently right now. I know there's the Supersonics colorway, which is like white with yellow and green. I kind of wanted to grab that one. Also, I was eyeing at the Chicago colorway, which again I kind of like, but I've been on a little bit of a black shoe right now, and a little black shoe vibe going on right now, and this type of shoe is perfect for what I've been looking for out of a all-terrain, all everyday shoe. So you let me know down in the comments below what you think of the Air Flight 89. Are these better than the Air Jordan 4? Do you like them a little bit better? Do you still get like, are you privy more to the Air Jordan 4, which again, they're two completely different, not completely different shoes, but they're parallel to each other. A lot of similarities, basically the same shoe fundamentally. But I love this shoe, man. I kind of like this shoe over the Jordan 4, not gonna lie, just based off of first impressions. But you let me know down in the comments below. Folks, I've been True Fernie. This has been True Fernie. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs down, because believe it or not, every single bit helps. Links to my socials are down below. Please make sure to follow me on Threads, where I spend most of my waking hours talking about sneakers, talking about sports mainly, talking about anime, gaming, anything and everything that might interest you as my viewer. Also, make sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok, even though they've been kind of hoeing me out there with the engagement. I upload more of these more sneaker content, but more short form rather, but still your support is greatly appreciated on those sides. But folks, please take care of each other, but most importantly, take care of yourself, and don't forget the classics, man. Don't forget your ancestors. Don't forget where you came from. Just like you can't forget the Air Flight 89 when you think about the Air Jordan 4. Peace.